how have you been? Because I've spoken on the phone with you a couple of times, but we haven't seen each other for ages.
And ages.
We've recorded some new stuff for Bone Mud. Well, not recorded. Redone. Yeah. I think Sebastian was saying that he's got a band where each member is from a different country, and it's taken them 2 years to record something. So, wait for this. Bone Mud, 5 years.
Well, that's like that band Imperium we've just been doing. You know, you've got Mike, he's Bristol-based. The drummer's from Sweden. I think he sometimes drums in, what's he been in? Like Bolted and stuff like that. It's like he's done quite a few good bands. Vocalist is from America now. So we've got to wait from that files, and we've got another bassist from up north, so it's a bit getting things together is not the easiest. Just got to wait.
And actually, that's one of the things I wanted to start with, because obviously, again, just like with everyone, really, I talk to, we have these extremely unprecedented times with the bloody virus changing everyone's lives, and obviously, music and industry has been affected, I think, more than any other industry. I think the bands have cancelled tours.
Big time.
People were just moving releases of their albums, because what's the point? I think when you release an album, you have to go on tour. It's a must these days. So there's nothing really going on until next year.
Yeah.
I think there won't be any.
That's right.
Any gigs, any festivals. From music production point of view, how was your business affected?
Well, obviously the only obvious thing would be actual having the clientele, bands, artists in the studio. They couldn't be there.
So actually people recording in different studios and just sending you stuff.
Yeah, that works out a plus in this situation, but I did have things booked for bands, so obviously that was just had to be postponed. But luckily I kind of got a lot of work doing editing games, TV, music, so kind of worked out perfect, really, the timing.
Yeah.
But when it comes to recording, no bueno.
Yeah. Do you think music industry in general will change after this? It's not music really; it's entertainment. Do you know this comedian, American comedian Bert?
Who?
Bert.
Bert Kreischer.
Yeah. He just did this drive-in show.
Did he?
In America, I think in California or somewhere. Yeah, and he had thousands of people, and apparently it worked so well.
Really?
I think Skindred are doing a show, like a drive-in
I don't know about
show
that.
as well.
For music, I don't know. I mean, if it's a case of them being strict, saying, "Oh, you got to stay in the car,"
well,
you know.
No, you don't have to stay in your car.
Oh,
You've
really?
got a little plot of land, literally, I don't know, 5 by 5 meters. So you park your car, you can get out of the car.
It could be like a mini Glastonbury for yourself then. It would be, it wouldn't be too bad. Yeah. I mean, I say that, you don't know until you try it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a case of trial and error, I guess.
It's just such a shame, because music industry, and especially pubs and music venues, were at risk anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, signing petition to save the Fleece, and even within my time living here and being in a band, they closed the Croft.
Yeah.
Have you ever played in
the Croft?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the hub, wasn't it?
Exactly.
That was the type of place you could just turn up. Didn't matter,
Yeah.
who was there and whatnot. You don't have to ring anyone, because you know there's always going to be another band or whatnot. It was,
and it's such a shame, because the Croft is they changed it to like a nice friendly family pub.
Yeah.
Do you remember further down the road onto your right there was a little pub
Junction.
called Junction? Hey!
I did many gigs in there.
Oh.
Proper old kind of crusty punk kind of feel in there.
I just loved it. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing shows.
We played many gigs there, but again, it's been turned into this family friendly little cafe slash bar.
That's it.
Beer Keller.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, Beer Keller.
Yeah.
That was a weird one when that went, because that's been there for forever.
Yeah. So with all of this going on, it's just I don't know how bands, how venues, promoters will survive. It's going to be a quite a difficult one.
Yeah.
So obviously we have long history, you and me. So I don't really remember when I met you, but I definitely met you as a music producer first. Okay, so I contacted you with regards to Bone Mud, recording some tracks. We were quite unhappy with our previous producer. It was recorded in a slightly more old school way.
More analogy.
Yeah.
Which is not always bad. It's just
it's not.
It just depends where you're going.
It's just that's nothing what I envisaged as you know, the music that I've written will sound like. It was a nice, you know, experience because the guy was really, really good, but he was doing things in a really old schooly way, and he used to record a lot of indie.
That's right.
I think he even recorded Xabian, one of their first album. Yeah, lovely guy. And then obviously we found out that we've got another big hobby, passion, interest, which is fighting. Yeah.
In fact, I think, did I take you along to our
You did.
first kickboxing?
You did. That's right.
Actually, yeah, because I think that's how we got into recording. I was like, I do kickboxing. You know, I want to do that. And it's like, no, just a place.
Do you know what? All the days I prepared for this, I forgot about this detail. You took me to the first kickboxing training.
Was it the one in Patria at the time?
It was.
Because I didn't know if it was before then, because obviously they've moved to quite a few places. But
it was part of this horrible little room with wooden floor and ladies doing some yoga next door.
Oh, and I always used to actually fall through their wall.
Yeah. So, how do you? I don't know.
It was actually pole dancing.
Just
to clarify.
My wife's watching.
Yeah. I think you know that the fitness pole dancing, obviously. Yeah.
How do you remember recording us? Because we've done loads with you. Because I think we recorded an EP, and then we did loads of little singles as well.
Oh my God, it's just been so long. It's hard to condense it down into a timeline almost.
Yeah. Wow. I think 2012.
Was it?
Yeah, I think the Challenge Accepted EP, this 4-track EP, the one we recorded drums, we recorded with Scott.
It would have always been with... Oh!
No.
Or was it Toy Box?
Mm-hmm.
I think the first one was at Toy Box Studios.
Yeah. So all the drums that recorded for the second album was recorded at Toy Box.
Yeah, oh, Christ. Yes, 2000... Was it 12 or was it before? Was it after or before I was away?
Oh, after.
It was.
Yeah. So we released Tokoloshi in 2010. So that's the first album. Yeah, it was 2010. And then I think the EP Challenge Accepted, the one we recorded with you, was released a year and a half, 2 years later. So we must have,
Blimey.
A long time ago.
Wow. God, it flies by, doesn't it?
How have you developed as a producer since then?
Just by doing as many different genres as I can, really. Because as much as obviously I started with metal, and that's what I know. Yeah. But I've always loved other.
Yeah, and genres. I think I've always loved the sort of. I don't want to use this cliche word chemistry, but there was this chemistry. We worked on the same wavelengths because you obviously are a metal fan and you know how to produce metal, but you always had your eye on more poppy stuff, like mainstream, which surprisingly now metal and pop has
started gelling,
combined beautifully. And you know, these bands, you know, any band really. I mean, Bring the Horizon would be the first one to jump into my head.
Massive production and
absolutely. So it's these sort of poppy methods of producing music mixed with heavy, low-tuned guitars, massive pads, orchestras, and layers and layers, and then you have this crushing sound out of it.
That's it. I mean, recently it's been mainly pop stuff I've been doing, more so, and then occasional metal band. So I think a lot of people are like, oh, Chuck actually on the scene anymore? I'm like, I am. I'm just, venturing out doing other stuff. And I just find when I do come back to that, like today, band I'm doing, We Struck Gold. It's a lot of hardcore, a lot of grooves in there, a lot of cool heavy riffs. But then when the choruses come in, they're just going to be, drum guitars, pad central, just
beautiful,
massive. And because I've been just mainly doing a lot of pop stuff, that's just gonna benefit massively, you know.
Yeah, that's something that I just love. I remember when I first listened to Bring the Horizon or you know any other band of that I don't know, it was like 2010, 12 maybe. I thought, oh my God, you can actually mix pop and metal, and it sounds absolutely amazing. You can still have, you know, these massive metal screams, beautiful guitar, amazing tone of the guitar, bass, and then these pads and orchestra, and these ambient sounds in between, and it works, and it works.
I'll say, when I think about it now, with the Bowmed album, that's kind of like the first kind of tester, as it were, experiment. Really, because I've been doing a lot of pop and a lot of metal, but I didn't really combine the worlds. There's some things might work, might not have.
Yeah.
For example, like an 808 sub. I tried to make that dominant in some of the choruses to have that low sub, but then cut off a lot of the sub off the actual bass guitar. So the bass guitar's still in there, but the low end's dominated by that.
Is it strange that some hardcore metal bands they don't really accept this sort of combination?
No, I get it. I kind of, I do and I don't. As a producer, it's great for me because I like to experiment with different sounds and whatnot. That's just where I am. But I think a lot of it is ego as well. I mean, a mix of. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people who just won't like it, but there's a lot of that kind of, man, I ain't metal. I ain't touching up that pad or that synth. There's no place for that. But, it just depends on the song. There is no right or wrong, I think.
No, there isn't. But it's funny, knowing all these hardcore metal fans that listen to brutal death black metal. But whenever there's Limp Bizkit on the radio, I can see their heads nodding, feet are going, break stuff, and also all these bouncy and jumpy bits. So it's
my first ever gig. That was Limp Bizkit. Yeah, it was 13. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Back in the day.
And then you ended up in Burning Skies. Yeah.
Burning Skies. Yeah. Completely opposite.
Okay, but let's go to the very beginning. So obviously something must have inspired you to go into the music industry, to produce music, to be even earlier on to join metal bands. So when you look at your childhood, I mean your like secondary school days, what were the bands you were listening to at the time? Yeah, don't be shy. Be honest. I won't be too judgmental.
Let's have a little mix. Well, still say, I still like them to this day. Two of my favourite bands were Faith No More, Pantera. They were my two go-to bands. Yeah. And obviously when you're 13, 14, everyone liked Korn and Slipknot. So.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you were a Korn fan.
Oh, yeah. When I was in school, I was a big fan of them. And then it kind of progressed. As I got older, I got into, then, like I said, Slayer and Pantera. And then one day, I think I was about 16, maybe 17. It's whenever Prowley in the Yard come out by Pig Destroyer. And I remember it. So when I first got that album, and I think it was Nasum, what's it called again? Human 2.0, I think that's the name of the album, in case I mess it up. But those two albums, that was kind of got me onto grinding, and that was it. Just like, whoa, this is a bit different. And then
I did, when we spoke on the phone the other day, I did say that I when I was preparing, I listened to a lot of Burning Skies. I watched some of your gigs as well. It's just brutal on your wrist. I mean, the speed of this right hand, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
When we did the album, Grieve Filth, like I remember because we were in Germany doing it, and literally from the off, I was having problems with my wrist before anyway, but I think it was War Hate, that song. And when we're coming this down, obviously it was all down pick.
Oh.
It just, some of them started turning to like a claw like that, and it started dropping the pick, and I was just like, and then that started like blowing up, and Alex, our engineer, was like, yes, I sometimes do nurse work or something, he said along those lines, and he's like, yes, that looks absolutely, gone kind of thing. So then that was me done. Every tour I used to have this like wrist strap on. I had to take pills as well, like a lot of painkillers before our shows. Even when at Thailand, same thing. I had to take painkillers still for the wrist.
Still from
down picking.
From shredding. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was just, maybe it's just terrible technique. I don't know, but it was just.
It is something.
And
it's
the ego thing when you're live. We're like, we should just do some up down strokes, but it's just I always look to Leo on the right, and there'd be sometimes like a mock lips. It was like For drums, it wasn't too hard on the groove section. But what you had to do was go 5 BM, just up a bit. And for me and Liam, it was hell. So sometimes I look over on stage and he's there going, just gritting his teeth, and we're just like, oh man, it's just too much. You know,
you can't enjoy the show when you're
sometimes
when you're
I didn't.
focusing so much. Yeah.
It's just like, where's it gonna end?
Do you know what? There's down picking. It is ego more than anything else.
Where's that and its tone? It sounds
It
amazing.
sounds. I mean, you know, when you listen to, you know, like Master of Puppets, and you know,
Yeah,
it's
it makes bands when I'm recording my. Can
You-
you turn that to down picking, maybe? They're like,
yeah, it
got
does.
to push them a little if they can get with it. I'll
It does.
get
It
to
does
do
make a massive difference. So obviously you've been in many bands, but obviously it was 2007, I think, six, seven. You joined Burning Skies.
Yeah.
Do you remember the circumstances? What were you a fan?
Yes.
Have you ever seen them
I was,
play live before? And
yeah, because I was like, as we were like our first 16, 17-year-old band,
Wow.
and used to play shows and whatnot. And I heard of Skies before anyway on the internet. I had their first EP. I was always just a big fan, so I actually used to go to shows just as a fan. Ended up talking to Merv after one of the shows, and say, "Oh, I like grinding."
So was Merv the original vocalist?
He was always the vocalist. There's only one. There's only one. Only one Merv. And yeah, so we started talking, and it turned out we'd like a lot of grinds as well. And I was like, "Do you want to do a grind project?" Thinking he might be like, "No." And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Cool." So we did that UK grind.
Okay, yeah.
We did that like an album together, and that's how me and Merv kind of connected. And then obviously a guitarist went. He's like,
Was
"Oh,
it
no,
before some sort of major gig as well? I don't remember.
I can't remember that. I can't remember.
I think it was. I think I think I read an article that you joined the band before like 3 quite big gigs. I even looked up the bands, but they had really weird names.
Oh,
And they were
I'd love
like-
to know. Yeah, I can't remember. Who was any vague or?
No. It was a German article. I had to translate it into English.
Oh, was it in Germany? Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I think that actually might be the tour,
It might have been a tour.
because Wolf Marlet's Mouth. Well, that was my first tour with them. Because before that we played shows, I think, but that was the first. Was it? But that was the first big tour, because that was like a long, I think 4 weeks maybe. I'm not.
4 weeks. Wow.
I think. But that was amazing. That was that was still to this day was one of our.
Because Burning
favourite.
Skies was really an up and coming, like a major band in Bristol.
Yeah, I'd say more. It felt, bigger when we left England.
Yeah.
It felt different, like especially when you go to places like Slovakia and all that. It felt more
Yeah.
appreciated for that type of music anyway.
I think that's so true. I think
Especially genres
yeah.
like.
yeah. And I think generally live music is appreciated more in Europe. I don't know
yeah.
why. I don't know why.
100%.
Because I went to some gigs with my family in Holland, and it's like, oh, there's a band playing live in this sort of pub. Oh yeah, let's go, and everyone is going. They appreciate
So,
live music. Someone has taken time and effort. They recorded songs. They brought all their equipment. They're playing live. It's so much better. And I don't know. There isn't this sort of appreciation here. I think UK is spoiled. There's so
depends on
many
the area
choices as well.
I think, like if you went to like Camden Underworld, I mean I don't know what it is like now, but back then, they're always amazing shows.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Actually, some of the best shows we ever had. Bristol was one of our best places. We didn't really like playing England much because they weren't great.
Yeah.
But there were certain locations.
Yeah.
Bristol loves playing home because always guaranteed a big crowd and everyone's just they know stuff. Like you said, London was generally good, but apart from that,
Yeah.
we just couldn't wait to get out and do the mainland.
Yeah, it's so weird because our best shows were in Poland.
Yeah.
I remember Scott just crying his eyes out when
Yeah.
we played the first gig because we had 600 people.
Yeah.
And when we finished, they wanted autographs, pictures, and literally 2 weeks before we played a show for 20 people in in Croft or Junction, and it's just a completely different world. They didn't know us. They just came out to see a live band from UK.
Yeah.
So it really was amazing. But I was going to say, for the first time I found out about Burning Skies, it was way before I met you. It was on MySpace. Do you remember MySpace?
Of course, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, such a
The MySpace days.
oh God.
Saying that, MySpace, as music goes, was the best.
It was.
The communication and the community of like the bands, how people met,
Yeah.
you know, and then now that's...
It did everything a band
It was
needed.
more about the band than it was about someone's personal profile, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was-
yeah. We had thousands of friends, and I remember at the very end of MySpace, you could customize your profiles as well.
Oh, yes,
So
yeah,
so
yeah.
we spent a lot of money with my good friend Joe Latham, and it looked amazing. Thousands, and you could put gigs there, and there were pictures, videos. It was absolutely brilliant. And then Facebook came out, and I remember having an argument with a couple of my friends, and they said, yeah, move your profile to Facebook. I said, no way. You'll see. You'll disappear.
That's what everyone said, yeah.
It'll disappear in a couple of years. It bloody didn't. And
You're
and I
right.
think we were a little bit late to Facebook.
It was a big thing. It was a very big
Massive.
thing for bands.
Yeah,
You know.
and you know, some bands they worked their asses off to build audience on MySpace.
Yeah.
They had like hundreds of thousands of friends, and suddenly it's gone
Yeah.
because it literally happened overnight. Really.
Got bought by Justin Timberlake, didn't it?
Yeah.
And
I think they tried to.
it's still up now, but then
Yeah.
if you go on there, I think I even found some of my old bands from when I was younger still on there, which is quite strange, but they don't play. So the players don't work anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah. But it's I miss MySpace. I really worked really hard to build
They
to
tore
build
it down.
the fan base.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when Facebook started, and then Twitter and Instagram, I was like, oh my God, now do we have to do all of these profiles as well?
Yeah.
And if we don't do, I'm going to miss out. And I remember having some meetings because eventually with Bone Mud we did sign a contract with the label, and there was a booking agency that worked with them, and they said, yes, you need the lot, Twitter, Bandcamp or whatever it is, then Instagram, Facebook, all of it.
Mm.
Who's going to run it? I don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can pay us £500 a month, we'll do it for you.
Oh God.
Oh Jesus Christ! So I just chose basically not to do it. Yeah. So obviously you played massive gigs, because I've watched some of them, big festivals. Anything in particular that you kept in your memory that you will cherish forever? Some sort of
Cherish.
event. Yeah. Is there anything that, I remember this gig with Burning Sky, it was amazing, the feel was amazing, the organisers, they were on time, they paid us well, the rider was amazing, food, alcohol.
There's a few. I can break it down as in, like, let's say an overall couple of tours. Obviously that Wolf Marlet's Mouth one, amazing, because we didn't know about them, never heard of them, and they're quite a big band. It's until we went to the Life Force Records, and this is the band you're playing with, they're showing us music and whatnot. And we're like, cool, we're going to see him tonight. And we had no idea like how much people loved him. And then so for us it was great because we were the support act to him. And
Was it just you two?
Yeah, and the rest were all like local bands and whatnot.
Okay.
So it was always us headline. But man, just every night was just immense. Always good shows, and you couldn't ask for a better bunch of guys to go on tour with as well. It just all seemed to just sync up amazingly.
Yeah.
Our last ever tour, which is partly the reason I actually think we stopped. Well, me and Liam spoke, because it went so well. It was I think it might be one of our first headline tours, which is the whole of Europe. We did that, and every show was brilliant. And I think even Liam rang up and was like, "Yeah, do you feel like it's fizzling out a bit? Better to stop kind of now, than we go back and it'll be a bit like meh." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how, and it's like, I kind of see where he's coming. I kind of felt like it was just not. I don't know.
Well, maybe you had
You just get that feeling, don't you? It feels like it's the end of the road.
Yeah,
kind of.
but maybe you had your mind on something else already.
Yeah.
But that's a. I'm glad you mentioned that, because obviously bands break up.
Yeah.
For many reasons, and just because you've worked with so many bands, you talk to them as they record, and I'm sure they open up to you. Oh, my singer, he's this, and,
All the
or
time.
the drummer, all the time. Absolutely. So, have you noticed any sort of patterns? Because it's being in a band. It's such a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's like a relationship. It is like a relationship. You have to respect each other. You have to trust each other. You have to tell. There are some financial issues to take into account. Have you noticed any patterns emerging as far as why bands break up?
Why they break up? Well, that's quite a complex question. You could go real detail with that, can't you?
Please do.
It all depends on the band, really. It could be you all got differences. Musically, you might want something different to each other. That's a big one. And I say the biggest one is just personalities.
Yeah.
That is the biggest one. And I don't know what it is, but there is a stereotypical kind of way with these members. Like, I don't know why this is, most guitarists are like the guy who's kind of running the band, the manager. I don't know, this is generally, not always, but most of the time. And as you can guess, and it seems to be most, not always again, vocalist, there seems to be a bit more diva kind of factor in there.
There is a thing, lead singer syndrome.
Yeah, it's more of like an ego kind of.
Yeah.
I get that a lot, like, I can't do it today because of this, whatever. And I've had that a few times. I'm like, you got to do it.
Because drummers and bassists, they don't really mind, do they?
Especially the bassist. The bassist is almost always too laid back to the point they're just like, if you want to record my bits, you can do it. I don't mind. It's just always, generally, they always seem to be a bit more chilled.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but
again, we're not digging into.
No, we're not like just saying every guitarist. I'm just saying, if I had to weigh up the percentage, that always seems to be more so the way it goes.
Yeah, but just being devil's advocate, being a vocalist is a hard job.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're there, right in front of the crowd. You have to communicate with them. The rest of the band can hide in the shadow somewhere at the back, especially the drummer, and especially when your lyrics are so personal as well, and when you're singing it and you're passionate because you want to tell a story. Very often, people talk about negative traits of their personality, about mistakes that they made, about love, about death, about other things. It's not easy. Not everyone would be able to do that, to admit to certain things. And from my experience, I know that it's got a massive impact on then behavior of the vocalists, because they feel so exposed. And they have to cover themselves with something, and that's usually their massive ego.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So usually vocalists never help, setting up. With equipment or booking things. They usually think that they can just turn up 5 minutes before the show.
Before I forget, one other thing I would say, I've noticed with bands why they don't always last, is financial. Because I've seen bands when someone in the band's actually had a really good job and they do really well, and they're still putting a lot of time in the band, but they're also putting a lot of money and effort into it, and then you've got that one other person in the band who's like just skint and can't, or just don't have a job, or they might have something, but they feel like they want to put the money elsewhere rather than the band. So then I think it's that kind of initial agreement. That's happened quite a few times.
I think that's spot on.
And so I think if you're like you're in a band who's got someone who's like a manager and someone who's on the dole, I don't see it working too well in the long run. That's just what I've seen anyway.
And the fact is, if you want to have high quality recording, if you want to have really good quality music video, photo shoot, whatever, you have to pay.
It's gonna cost, yeah.
Yeah, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and producing music it's not cheap. You can do it in your little home studio, like a DIY style, but then it will show. You will hear it in the production.
I say that a bit of a segue there. Like you said about home recording. I mean, when it started building up a bit more with the home technology, you've got more access to it now, haven't you? It's all condensed down to almost like a small box. Since that started like building up, I've noticed that's when it started getting harder to book bands in, because I think a lot of those bands kind of had the stuff, and then it was kind of like, well, we can do this ourselves now, and then just maybe send it off to master or whatnot. But you can quite hear it. It's kind of like a master demo. Some of them, but some of them actually, on the flip side, have got this stuff and they've actually turned into good producers themselves. So there's a lot of producers about now.
Yeah, but I heard that because of the virus, there's a lot of big studios collapsing. So there might be
this
more.
could be maybe the future where it's gets to a point where it's technology now. The things I always used to think back in the day, I thought, God, I wish they brought that out. That would just make my time, so much easier, quicker. A lot of it exists now. A lot of these presets as well for like people who don't know how to mix. So if they just like want to get their demos out and whatnot, but have it got quite a good quality, you can. So I think that's the big shift, is just the progression technology, really.
Yep.
That's the huge.
Absolutely, and I always thought that to equip a massive studio with top shelf equipment, you'll have to spend hundreds of thousands of pounds. Little home studio, 10 grand, and you've got absolutely everything you need. Would the difference in quality, would it be worth £100,000? I don't think so. You will hear the difference, but would it be such a big one that is worth £100,000?
I mean, just even the drum sounds now. People used to pay all this money at this amazing drum studio. Now these drum samples are being recorded in these top quality environments, mixed by these top producers, and you just whack it in. You program your drums. You're like, way! I've got this enormous kit. Obviously, you can go in more detail with the mixing, but generally, as far as a demo goes, some of these demos sound better than a lot of the.
It's amazing
from when I was in school.
Yeah, it's amazing for writing songs, because you can write a drum track, record some guitars, mix it a little bit, add bass, and you've got a really good idea.
You can have a quick vision.
Yeah, send it off to the rest of the band. Yeah, guys, do you like it? And then the vocalist can write lyrics, vocal lines, and the track is done. It's such an easy way of writing and producing music. Can you imagine doing it 30 years ago on tapes and.
Well, it's just the money as well. It's just completely different, wasn't it? I mean, it's the same with the music videos.
Yeah.
The amount of bands I see now with these videos just look amazing, don't they? Like, I'm just like, wow. And back in the day when you're in school, the videos were on. What would it have been? I guess it was Crying. Was it still then? I don't know. Crying TV, whatever. They would have probably cost, 50 over 100,000 to do. Yeah. And now, 1,500. You can get these small independent companies, and they look great. And
some I mean, even today we're filming on 2 mobile phones as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So and the quality will be amazing as well. I think one of the last videos for Bone Mud we filmed on an iPhone.
Oh really?
And there was time lapse, slow mo.
Yeah. Well, there's that
everything.
There was that psychological kind of like horror film, wasn't there? Was it year before? I forgot what it's called. Is that cinema? Because I went to see it. It's all done on the new iPhone.
Really?
The whole film's done on iPhone.
There you go.
I didn't even realise. I forgot what the film was called, but yeah.
But it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like everyone can be a photographer or filmmaker or producer.
They're probably listening now. No, you can't. No, you definitely can.
So. So, before Burning Skies decided to call it a day, was it even before that you got interested in sport and boxing, kickboxing?
Well, I started boxing probably around age 13.
Okay,
I had a friend
long before.
Yeah, I had a friend who used to do boxing down at Spinorium. It's in, where's that? Is that East Compton? I think it'd be East Compton, wouldn't it? So I used to go and do a lot of boxing down there with him. I did that about maybe 4 years. But then I found him at a music college, and it was a completely different environment. You know, everyone was just it's musicians.
Yeah,
you know, it's a completely different. So from that, I just didn't start. I just stopped training, and I got fat as hell. I mean, to the point, fat as hell as in 21 stone.
Yeah.
Which is how much is that in kilos? It's a lot. It's a big boy.
Over 100. It is over 100.
Oh my god, yeah, I'm probably got 100 now. It's probably double
So
that.
100, 120 maybe. That's twice as me.
Yeah, it was big. It was very big. I mean, I wouldn't have made the. I've been over the heavyweight limit in the UFC, but not with muscle.
I did see. I think that there are some photographs of Burning Skies and this festival footage as well. You're a big boy.
Oh yeah,
you're quite round.
Yeah, I was very round. It's like an egg. But it was actually kind of more the tours. It was so uncomfortable in that van. It used to drive me nuts. But being 21 stone in that van on top of that, it wasn't. It's just killing me, you know. Like I was just like, oh my back.
And then again, on tour, you will not have healthy diet. You will drink alcohol. You will do.
I did not.
You know.
And I did, yes. Especially with the riders, because I didn't really drink much lager or cider. It upsets me. Whereas vodka on the other hand, so I'll turn up. Yeah, I'll turn up to the shows, and then they would have like the.
And I guess all the
waiting.
riders were like pizzas and.
Oh yeah.
So high calorie stuff and everything, no exercise.
Exactly.
So it's inevitable you will put on weight.
Yeah.
So it was like a nice solution.
Well, it's because like I said, I grew up loving boxing, but then I started watching kind of like UFC, MMA, probably in 2006, 7, something like that. Because I knew about it years before, but I was that typical old boxer fan, like, if they come in the ring with a boxer, they get killed, you know. Just stupid way of thinking. You just don't understand sport back then, do you? But around 2006, 7, I got into it a bit more, and I wanted to lose weight, but I wanted to go back boxing, but there was not really a boxing club near me. So I found Panthers, kickboxing, and I was like, oh, kickboxing, you know. I love watching MMA, and they do a lot of kicking as well, so I thought I'd get into that. And literally that's where it all stemmed from. It's like, I think I was 21, so about 12 years I think I've been doing it now, the kickboxing side. So
Did you fight back then, or was it just training?
I only had the one fight back then.
Okay.
But at first it was just training because I wouldn't put myself in the ring looking like, you know, some of these events you go to, like, they go, oh, fair play, you get in the ring. I'm like, well, I would have waited a bit, you know, lose a bit of weight first, mate. But
so at what point the Thailand idea came to you?
Wow, it's just like anything I do. Once I love it, I want to take it to the extreme, don't I? So I'm like, love kickboxing, love MMA.
Let's go.
Let's go to Thailand. Yeah. So I looked on the internet, and this was back in 2010 when I was exploring it. It was Tiger Muay Thai. It wasn't really a massive like a gym back then, but I'd just seen that. I think a few fighters like John Fitch and just a few UFC fighters went there. So I was like, even though he's not really known for his Muay Thai, but I was still like, oh, you know, I want to do Muay Thai. I love MMA. Let's go there. I can link it up.
Yeah.
So I went there for about, 4 months. I think 4 months. And yeah, it was a completely different world.
Yeah.
You know, the fighters, they were there. It just, especially the Thai guys anyway, you think, oh, I'm all right, I'm not too bad, but
you're not.
It took me down another whole level. It was just, I was crap.
Yeah.
I'm still not amazing, but
No. And Tiger Muay Thai.
Now it's,
I think it's the biggest, the best Muay Thai gym in the world, really. I mean, they have
for like that MMA crossover Muay Thai. It's just the facilities I've seen now is just unreal.
And they were really good back in 2010. But now they have become a little bit mainstream, so they've got a lot of people there. But I think they still have like a professional bit of
yeah,
the
they
gym.
do. They've got that kind of it's like a fight, not quite. What would you call it? Not auditions, tryouts.
Okay.
They got tryouts now to get in team a lot, because a lot of the people like Volkanovski, I think he come from the tryouts originally, and Hooker, I think.
Really?
I believe.
Oh, wow.
Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they did. There's and that what's his name? the left way guy, bald guy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
D-Luke.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was in the tryouts as well. So there's like a lot back then. So it's literally that year. I remember leaving, seeing all this influx build.
So training with someone who's Thai and they are like high level.
Yeah.
Someone like that holding pads for you. What's it like?
It's actually more their pad work's kind of almost like a fight sometimes. I found they do things I wasn't expecting. So they were like front kick. So you go do a front kick, but then they sweep you while you're doing the front kick. And so at first I was like, not used to it. I was like,
you didn't tell me you're going to sweep.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, no, go up and all this. He even said to me, "Go, you're too fat." I was like, just embarrassed me and called me fat. One guy was even like, "You fight at 76." I was like, 76? That's far too low for me to this day. I was like, I got to 82 for one fight, which I actually had to pull out in the end. That's the kidney problems and all that. And still then, I felt gaunt. So, 76 now.
And obviously, you have to add to the equation the heat.
Oh, that took a while.
Humidity as well.
It took a good over a week or something just to get used to.
And conditions of living as well, because you didn't have a 5-star hotel.
I lived in the gym. It's just a little bedroom. Got a fridge and TV. Got lizards on the roof.
You had a TV. I don't feel sorry for you anymore.
No, yeah. Not flat screen though. So
any creepy crawlies? Like
a lot of
and
lizards. Going to the toilet. The worst though, I hate snakes. And what do they have? Plenty out there. Snakes. I remember one day they were around the gym. They're like, I heard this commotion. They're like all the trainers, and I was like, what are they doing? Looking at this tree. And I looked down and just see this bright green snake slithering up the tree, and they're trying to get it. And I was like, oh my God, get me away from this. They shake it, falls down. They literally instantly just cut his head off and put a brick on his head. And they're like basically saying, don't let it come near you. If that bites you, you're a goner. Same with the cobras. There's a cobra in the restaurant one time. Just pouting it away. It's just
it's a different mentality, different life, isn't it? What do you think about their approach to fighting? Because it's completely different than in Europe or anywhere else. They fight every week.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of gambling there as well.
Yeah,
and
that's why with their sparring as well, they don't really go heavy because they have to fight so much. If you notice, it was kind of more pads, a lot of technique based, obviously a lot of clinching, but it wasn't like, let's say, if you went to Holland and you did a sparring session, you got to be awake for that, or you're going to be seeing stars straight away.
I've sparred in Holland and I've been beat up pretty badly many times.
For it, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, he's the guy from UK. Yeah, and he told me, but someone told me he's got a belt. Yeah, okay.
Stupid idea to do, yeah.
Yeah. It was my brother-in-law. I blame him.
As well,
I did, yeah.
Because Mike's gym's known for being a pretty.
But they were really respectful. It was another gym, and it was just a boxing gym, and I think my brother-in-law thought it would be funny to tell the coach that I'm an amateur kickboxer and that I have a title.
Oh no.
So when we sparred, he everyone was sparring outside the ring on the mats, but he asked me in the ring.
So that's when you got the podium.
Yeah, and you know what? I survived, but at the end I approached him and I said, "This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's my first time here. You don't know what my level is, how good I am." And after that, when we went home, my brother-in-law told me that what they were screaming to my sparring partners in Dutch was, "Hit him harder, hit him harder, knock him out, knock him out." And I was sparring. Yeah. I'm a small guy, and I was sparring really bigger guys. Yeah, I told him that this was a dick move to do that. You wouldn't do that. They could have hurt me.
Yeah. my little body hurt me.
My God, compared to this guy, and the worst one was this Moroccan guy, and he had evil in his eyes.
That Dutch Moroccans, don't mess about.
Yeah, and usually when I see that someone is better, I guard pretty well, and he just went for my body, and then It was brutal.
Really?
I was just praying for the ring.
Oh man.
I was praying for the bell. Oh yeah. But it was amazing experience.
Yeah, I love this. If I say as style goes, I love the kind of Dutch kickboxing style. It's my favourite anyway. Just
Yeah.
because
Mine too.
I'm very like kind of more boxing based background.
Deckers, Ernesto Hoos. I mean, these are.
You go through the list, pretty much. You know, you're going to go
They're
through the
just
top 20.
amazing.
Most of them are going to be Dutch.
Yeah, and then you know Nikki
Holskin.
Holskin and Robin van Roosmalen as well. I
Yeah.
mean, they're just the best of the best.
Yeah.
I think actually Robin moved to MMA.
Yes, I've seen he's been training it.
Yeah, because
I don't know if is he crossed over yet. I know
I think he did. I
with
think he had a
Henry
couple
Hooves and all
fights.
that, doesn't he?
He apparently he's got black belt in judo
Oh, is he?
as well. Yeah. So he's a groundwork.
That's
should
pretty
be
cool.
should be pretty good. Should be pretty
Because when
good.
it comes to standing, I mean, not much people are going to be
Yeah.
at his weight, going to be outclassing him. Well, I say that's a different. The striking in MMA and the striking in kickboxing is completely different. The size of the gloves,
Oh, yeah.
the
Yeah,
distance.
yeah.
You've seen it, like Gokansaki. He got knocked out by Roundtree, didn't he?
Very quickly, yeah.
And you think generally in a kickboxing fight, I would always have my money on.
And again,
Saki,
can you
but-
imagine Muay Thai in small UFC gloves?
Well,
Like-
they do in Australia.
I know. Liam
Wayne-
Harrison, yeah.
John Wayne
Park.
Price, or One Championship do it now, don't they?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's insane, insane.
Love it. It's great.
But
It's-
oh my god, it just makes me go whoa when I think about it. It can.
It's
what's the point of-
it's
what's
just
the point of-
basically MMA with no takedowns. You know, that's the way I see it. It's just
Yeah,
you're just seeing the elite strikers do it.
yeah. It's tough. It's tough. Well, on your return, so you've had lovely few months. I think your perspective towards fighting has changed because you knew how to train now.
Yeah.
I think humbled you a little
Big
bit.
time,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say that I was kind of always been humbled anyway. Just the
Yeah.
people I used to train with.
Yeah.
You know, they
Exactly.
were all a lot of. We had a really good teams, and
Yeah.
most of them were better than me. so Thailand, it's just like even better. You know.
So you basically restarted your music producing
Mm-hmm.
initiative business.
Yeah,
You carried
though
on.
I did have quite a few messages when I got back saying stuff like, "Hey Jack, we know you quitting that, but would you be up for recording it?" I'm like, "I haven't quit." They say, "Oh, you've moved to Thailand." I was like, "No, I just went to train there." And that took a while to just kind of get that out there. I don't even know how that got around. I didn't exactly post telling everyone I'm quitting.
Yeah. Were you tempted to stay?
What, in Thailand?
Yeah.
I wasn't tempted. I wanted to, but I just couldn't have the funds.
Oh really?
If I had the choice, oh my god, I would have.
You should have started fighting.
I loved it out there. Absolutely loved it. Yeah, just the lifestyle of just getting up and training. But then you can get pulled into that nightlife on the Saturday, and it's
Yeah,
a
you
pretty extreme nightlife out
You
there.
should have
so-
started work as a snake catcher.
Yeah, I would have been great at that, wouldn't I? You'd be getting the building. Yeah, you'd just be outside. One of those sticks.
Where do you see yourself in a few years? Because obviously, hopefully, this bloody thing COVID-19 will blow over in the next, I don't know, maybe 6, 7, 8 months, and next year we can restart our normal lives. Maybe gigs will start. People will start recording music again properly, face to face.
It's always hard to say, really, but that's why I'm always kind of trying to get my fingers in all these different pies. You know, is open up the avenues with the genres. So, as I was saying about the pop before, another one, I'll say the last only few months, hip hop, but doing it quite intensively now to the point I'm quite fortunate. Like, let's say, going back a bit, when I first started doing like metal, I was at college, studying it and whatnot, and then one of my mates in my class was like, "Do you want to call my mate's band?" I was like, "Yeah, why not?" He's like, "How much do you charge?" I was like, "Charge? Don't know. I never really charged for it before. I don't know, 25 quid." He's like, 25 quid? I was like, "All right, 70 quid. Yeah, all right then, 70 quid. Because he was like, you know, you could get more than that. And that band, Evita, called Evita.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then we did this one song, did quite well on the old, as we were saying, MySpace. And then we did the EP, and it did really well. And then we did the album, and then that literally, yeah, I mean,
They were big.
I didn't
weren't
have to promote really because I got most of my work that kind of stemmed from that. And then you do another band you did quite well. I did like Martyr Defiled, they did quite well, and I got a lot of work from them. in Birmingham, not random conflict. It got me a lot of work. So it kind of literally was just
Like word of mouth. then.
Word of mouth, yeah. But coming back now to the hip hop, I've kind of always been trying to search for my Evita equivalent in the hip hop.
Yeah.
And I think someone I know, a guy called T-Rev, James, I think he's amazing. His vocals are actually just unreal. Like, he's got the speed, he's got the lyrics, he's got the flow, the rhythm.
As a rapper.
As a rapper, and we did this one track together, and we haven't released it yet, but I was just like, oh man, I think you can do really well from this. So now, literally before we left about 2 hours ago, we were talking about doing an EP now. So I'm kind of, trying to push that avenue. I think I can do, if he picks up and he goes far, because he's got the passion as well, which is another big thing. You need not just the talent, but they need to be like, I'm going to push it out there. I'm going to do well, and he is. He really wants to make it.
And with rappers, you don't have the band to think about.
No, exactly.
It's you.
And I know he's passionate about it. He's talented. He's amazing. I know I'm really good at production, hip hop, beats and whatnot. So I think it's a good combination. So I'm kind of, that's one of my focuses, doing really good work with him. And I if it goes well, hopefully I can get into that genre and have a bit more kind of work that way, because that's what I'm hoping anyway.
Any plans with kickboxing?
Well, as you can see at the moment, I've put on a bit of weight. I was at Bristol Dojo for a bit.
Okay. That's a cool gym.
Yeah, really cool gym. Like, good trainer as well. Dave's, he's a brilliant trainer.
Who's the owner there? Is it Simon O'Brien?
That's right. Yeah, Simon O'Brien. I think I was there for one class dip. It's mainly Dave, who he's very good, because as you know, you go to some place and you're like, straight away, this guy's a cowboy. Like, what you can see.
I mean, now we know.
Yeah, like you can see the cowboys are, and you're like, there's a lot of them. It's quite surprising how much there are, but he's legit. He's really good, and there are some really good fighters there as well.
Okay,
like some promising ones.
I've never been there because it's not in my area.
So it'd be good for you. There's a lot of their really good guys, kind of your size as well. Because when I went in, I hadn't trained for ages. I'm pretty much like I am now, flabby and out of shape. And in your head, you still feel like you could do the old sparring sessions. But in the second it kicks into that first round, and you're like, and you're like, oh no, what? Oh my god, I feel like I'm starting again. Yeah. And I remember sparring with like the smaller guys, and I just felt like I was trying to swat flies. It was just like,
and that's what I find it so hard to find fast. Guys my height, my weight, and I end up sparring bigger guys, and they usually beat me up. Not because they're stronger or better. It's just
as that size.
It's just weight and size. Yeah. Their punches hurt so much more than my punches hurt them.
So that's the thing. It gets to that point where the technique goes out the window.
Yeah.
Like I was holding pads with someone like back at DKW. I forgot his name. Big, massive dude. He was huge, but really nice guy. He was like, "Oh, Joe, you want to hold pads? You want to team up?" I was like, "Yeah, Sam." And his kicks were they're awful, technique wise, but he was so big. Yeah. My forearms were agony after the training. I was like, Jesus! It went like a slap, it was just like a thud, and it just shows when it gets to a certain size, it doesn't matter. You're gonna be blocking one of them. Our arms are coming off.
Okay, so I might, once they are allowed to.
Yeah, like I said,
open.
I'll talk to you after this. There's like some fighters I can see going far as well. I'm like, there's like a certain young kiddie there. I was like, yeah, he's really good. Okay, really, really good.
Well, I haven't stopped. Despite being 41, I still want to carry on.
Well, you're lucky as well. You've got Ryan, so
yeah.
I like I've said, out of all the people I've ever trained with, back in Thailand, I preferred his training to the guys in Thailand. I think it's just because of the style as well. I like kind of more boxing based.
And he's an amazing boxer as well. He had some boxing fights.
Yeah, he could easily go into pro boxing tomorrow. He's highly rate his training.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, that's it. Thank you so much. God, we've done another 50 minutes, I think, or an hour. Oh. Well, time flies when you have fun and you have a good guest to talk to. Thank you so much. I'm sure we're going to do it.
Yes.
Again. in the future.
Yeah, we'll do it next week.
I need a couple of weeks break now. So stressful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, nice one.
I'll put the link to your studio in the description of the video, and we'll promote it a little bit so you can have more work. Yeah. Thanks so
Lovely.
much.
Nice one.